This is video 3. Again, we have Mitch Stephen. And Mitch, let's just continue on with our conversation. What are some of the other points you want to bring up regarding the differences between owner financing versus landlording?
Well, one of the things I really like about owner financing and about being the bank is that when I get a payment in the mail, it's my money. And here's an example. When I was landlording, I would get a payment in the mail, but I didn't know if I could actually go out and spend that money or not a lot of times, because if the air conditioner breaks, I got to give the money back. If there was a leak in the plumbing or the hot water heater failed, I had to give the money back. The main difference between being the bank and being a landlord when it comes to collecting payments, when I collect the payment, it's my money. I'm not responsible for the house because I don't own the house. I am just the lien holder on the house. And that's one of my favorite things about being the bank is I no longer get those phone calls and have to give the money back.
Right. So, folks, what's happening is Mitch is the lien holder. He does not make the repairs. He does not have to worry about something breaking down in the middle of the night. He does not get the phone calls about my toilet is leaking, my air conditioning is not working. Why? Because he doesn't own the house. He is the landlord. He is the bank, if you will. And all of those responsibilities are the onus of the person who bought the house from Mitch. So, Mitch, we talked about a lot of great things here. What's the downside?
What's the downside?
Yes.
The downside is probably the same for both equations. I mean, the downside for whether, the downside if you're a landlord and the downside if you're owner financing property is always the same. If you don't qualify and get a person in there that is respectful, I guess the downside is they can ruin your carpet, they can take your copper wiring out of your house, they can rip out your sinks and steal your cabinets and your ceiling fans, and when you get a non-desirable in a house, things can happen. I will say, and I've never really had it go to an extreme, but if you want to know the downside, it could happen.
And the point you just made is that can happen whether you're a real estate investor and actually own the house and have a renter in the house, or if you provide seller financing and you have someone living there, they can also do that too. One of the points you brought up earlier was that generally when the house is fixed up, there is that additional equity. So hopefully there's a cushion or equity that would still be remaining in the house even if you had to take the property back as a lien holder. Is that correct?
Yes, and generally, if I have to take a house back, I generally create a larger note the second time around than the first time around, because people who are in properties, who own the properties, who look at themselves as the owner because they truly are, they improve properties. They don't destroy them or diminish them. So yeah, you're almost always, if you have to reload your house, you're almost always reloading it for a bigger value.
Fantastic. Anything else you'd like to add?
I will say this. People, when they rent, tend to move like every 12 months, every 24 months. People who own houses stay in them for years and years and years and years. And sometimes, David, when you hear something like that, you don't have to go check fact it. You just know that that's the truth. Would you agree, just in general, right off the cuff, that people who own their house and live in that property are going to stay for years and years and years, as opposed to how long a renter might stay in a house? They might just stay a little while. Doesn't that ring true?
Probably so, and the reason being for that, Mitch, I would say that the reason is that people have an interest in the house when they own it. In other words, they went in, they bought the house, they have committed to that house, they've made repairs out of their own pocket to that house. They're probably aware of any increase in equity, if there is an increase in equity. So they're more committed to the house than they are a renter, which means that they tend to stay a little bit longer.
That's true. In my own personal life, I've rented 3 houses in my life. I stayed in each one for a year apiece. The house I live in now, I've been in 26 years.
That's right. Yep. That's right. Well, fantastic. Well, folks, we've been joined by Mitch Stephen. He is the author of My Life in 1,000 Houses. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you. I look forward to coming out.